9 months. That's how long Cenat went without touching his own Twitch channel. For a guy who built his entire career on being live almost every single day, that kind of silence doesn't just happen by accident, and it definitely doesn't go unnoticed. His last stream on his main channel was back on October 1st, 2025, and after that, nothing. No countdown, no farewell arc, just silence from one of the biggest names Twitch has ever produced, a guy who at one point was sitting on more subscribers than anyone else on the platform. The internet did what it always does when a major creator goes quiet, it speculated. Was he burned out? Did something happen behind the scenes? Was this a permanent exit from streaming entirely? Kai eventually answered those questions himself, but not through a stream. He dropped a documentary-style YouTube video called I Quit, and in it, he laid out exactly what was going on in his head. He said he quit overthinking, quit staying stuck on whether the goals he was chasing were even going to work out. His words were about pushing his own limits to see how much he could actually create in life, and that wasn't just talk. During that same stretch, he launched his own fashion brand, Vivet, which he later explained was built around the idea of not being boxed into one identity, not wanting to just be known as the streamer guy forever. He also quietly kept a secret YouTube channel active during this period, so it wasn't a total disappearance, just a very deliberate stepping back from the format that made him famous in the first place. So that's the real reason behind the disappearance. Not controversy, not a falling out with the platform, not some deleted account drama. Just a guy who had been grinding nonstop for years deciding to step back and build something outside of streaming for a while. It's also worth remembering the scale of what Kai was stepping away from in the first place. This is someone who's picked up multiple Streamer of the Year honors and who, even during his time away from regular broadcasts, still made select appearances, including things like celebrity basketball games around NBA All-Star Weekend, meaning he never fully vanished from public life, he just pulled back from the daily grind of his own channel. That distinction matters, because it explains why the hiatus felt less like a disappearance and more like a controlled pause from someone who already had nothing left to prove in the streaming space. But here's where it gets interesting, because the thing Kai eventually chose to come back with wasn't just some random stream. It was tied to the project that arguably defined his entire 2025, Streamer University. If you weren't around for the first one, here's the quick version. Streamer University launched on May 22, 2025, at the University of Akron, and it was unlike anything else in the creator space at the time. It wasn't a normal meet and greet or a house full of influencers filming TikToks together. It was a full multi-day event where up-and-coming streamers actually lived alongside established creators, went through workshops, and produced content together in real time, on an actual college campus, with everything organized around letting content happen organically instead of being scripted out in advance. The demand for it was insane. Over 1 million applications came in within minutes of the form going live, and the volume was so heavy that the application website actually crashed under the traffic. Out of that flood, 120 students got accepted, and the event brought in 17 well-known creators to serve as professors, including names like Emily, Extra Emily, DDG, Din, Agent 00, Duke Dennis, Beanius, Bendadon, and Dontai, I'm Dontai. What came out of that weekend was described as creative chaos in the best possible sense, streamers, YouTubers, and influencers of every size colliding, collaborating on the fly, and generating viral clips across every platform at once. It worked so well that Kai himself teased its return months later, during his Mafiathon 3 marathon back in September 2025, promising fans that the next version would be bigger, louder, and more ambitious than the first. That promise sat in the back of everyone's mind for months while Kai stayed mostly quiet on the streaming front. Fast forward to June 8, 2026, and that promise became official. Kai dropped a cinematic trailer, full Harry Potter energy, complete with him walking across rolling green hills up to what looks like an abandoned stone manor built to resemble an American version of Hogwarts, and at the end, it simply read, Streamer University 2026. That trailer didn't just get attention, it exploded. Within 2 days, it had racked up 2.5 million likes on Instagram alone, according to TubeFilter's numbers. Creators immediately started flooding his comments hoping to lock in a spot for the new class. Cleotrapa joked about hitting up FAFSA immediately. Tylal reacted like an actual alumni reunion was happening, asking if he was already considered part of it. Harlem rapper Sugarhill said flat out that he was determined to make it this year. Mike Holston, known online as the real Tarzan, kept it short and simply posted, "Add me in chat," with a fire emoji. Jazz Hood, who goes by Lil Perfect, hyped it up with an enthusiastic, "Yes sir SU." The energy across the entire creator community was exactly what you'd expect for one of the most anticipated returning events in the space. This time around, the structure expanded too. Instead of just applying as a student like the first year, people could now apply as a student, a professor, or a club director, giving the event a wider range of roles beyond just being a participant. The only real requirements were being at least 18 years old and being able to travel to the United States, no minimum follower count needed, no established channel required, no prior streaming experience necessary. The application itself asked for basic information like full name, date of birth, gender, and email, and it separated US-based applicants from international ones. It also specifically asked whether applicants had taken part in the 2025 edition, meaning returning participants were being tracked separately from newcomers. And just like before, everything for accepted participants was completely free, covered entirely by Kai: housing, meals, participation fees, all of it. Now here's where the story takes a sharp turn, because not everyone who wanted in actually made it in, and one particular situation turned into one of the messiest storylines to come out of this entire rollout. Soulja Boy wanted a spot in Streamer University, and he didn't exactly go about it quietly. Instead of just applying like everyone else, he went on social media and basically issued an ultimatum to Kai directly, saying if he didn't get let in, they'd be beefing, and adding that he'd already let it slide once before, referring to not being included the first time around. He made it clear this wasn't really about the event itself, it was about Kai's relationship with DDG, someone Soulja considers an enemy and repeatedly refers to using a crude nickname online. The tension between those two goes back to 2024, starting with DDG trolling Soulja over a Ferrari he gifted his son, which spiraled into a much uglier back-and-forth involving domestic violence allegations and repeated public insults traded between them over the following year. DDG, for context, wasn't just some outsider in all of this, he was a professor at the original Streamer University and actually walked away with the MVP title from that event, which only added fuel to why Soulja felt so strongly about being excluded. Soulja Boy went further than just the ultimatum, warning Kai directly that continuing to work with DDG would put the two of them on opposite sides. He said if he didn't get accepted this year, he'd be on Kai's case for the entire year, framing it as though Kai teaming up with DDG again would mean Kai had chosen a side against him. Kai never really addressed any of it publicly at the time. And this wasn't a one-off complaint either, Soulja Boy had been going at Kai on and off for most of the year leading up to this. When Kai first slowed down his streaming schedule, Soulja had something to say about that too, and he'd also taken shots at Kai's move into fashion and other business ventures, at one point accusing him of finessing the supporters who subscribed to his channel. On top of that, Soulja had previously mocked Kai's well-known hate wall, a physical collection of negative comments Kai keeps and uses as motivation, and there was chatter suggesting Soulja himself had ended up posted on that same wall. So by the time the audition day actually rolled around, there was already a fair amount of history built up between the two of them, and the rejection just poured gasoline on something that had been simmering for months. Then, on June 17, 2026, things escalated in real life instead of just online. Soulja Boy showed up at State Farm Arena in Atlanta, where live auditions for Streamer University were actually taking place. According to reports, he tried to enter through a back entrance rather than going through the normal audition process like everyone else, and security stopped him cold. He was turned away and never got inside the building. What happened next is the part that really went viral. Soulja Boy got on a livestream shortly after and unloaded, directly blaming DDG for the situation. He accused DDG of calling Kai and claiming he felt unsafe just so Soulja wouldn't be allowed into the building, saying it on stream in extremely blunt terms and telling viewers to make sure the clip made its way back to DDG directly. He didn't stop at DDG either, he extended his frustration to Cenat and streamer Deshae Frost as well, lumping all three together and telling people watching to spread the clip to whoever needs to see it. It was raw, it was angry, and it spread across social media almost instantly, picked up by multiple outlets within hours. Rather than just letting the rejection sit, Soulja Boy pivoted and announced his own competing project called Rapper University. He posted about it casually on social media, telling people to comment if they wanted to be part of it, framing it as something that was about to be a movie. Details are still thin on his version, there's no confirmed date or full lineup made public, but he did say it would be based in Atlanta and streamed live on Twitch, positioning it as a direct answer to the program that had just shut him out. This actually isn't the first time someone's tried to run with a concept similar to Streamer University. Last year there were rumors that Natalie Nunn was working on her own version called Baddies University, and around that time Kai revealed he'd taken the step of legally trademarking the Streamer University name specifically to protect the concept from being copied by anyone else trying to cash in on the same idea. So you've got the fallout from Soulja Boy's rejection still fresh.